Karla, thank you so much for meeting me today.
I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, you look fantastic. Love the outfits. Can you explain a little bit about what you're wearing?
Yes, certainly. So I don't need an excuse to dress up. So it's always fun to do so. We're celebrating sort of the theme of heritage in February. So I've got on a replica ensemble that's sort of reminiscent of what a settler lady might wear around the turn of the century during Saskatchewan settlement period. So I've got a very plain cotton dress, and then I've got my apron with my little frills here. This would have been maybe a little bit more fancy. And the thing I like about my apron is it has pockets. So I've got room to put all my little settler things.
Even back in settler times, women liked their pockets, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Well, I just love it, and it's perfect, yes, for the heritage presentations that you have going on here in February. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. So February, we've got several things going on at the Western Development Museum. Some are in person, and we do have a virtual offering as well for folks that maybe aren't comfortable coming back to a public place just yet. I'll maybe start with our heritage presentations if I can. These are happening on February the 12th, which is a Saturday, and we've got two topics. The one in the morning is called Toys and Pastimes, and it starts at 10:30 a.m. And it's a really fun one. This one's actually kind of geared for youth, so I would say ages 7 and up, bring your whole family in, and it'll be something you can learn about Saskatchewan's past, how children like to play with things, what they made, that sort of thing. I've actually got a few samples too, if I could show you a few things.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. So the first thing I have here, it's actually called a hanky doll. So if you can see this, it's just a little scrap of cloth. And this would have been made from things found around the house. So maybe just a little end of a piece of cloth. We've got some yarn, a little bit of lace here for the head. And this was a nice little portable toy that kids could tuck into a pocket and take with them. And the nice thing about it also was that it's quite quiet. So they could take it to church or if they're going visiting. And that way it would be something to keep them occupied. The other thing, though, I think a lot of people might draw some parallels with something they're familiar with from their own childhood. This is called a stereoscope, and you look through the end here, and then there's a double picture at the other end. You can slide it back and forth, and it actually becomes like a 3D image. Now, I bring this one up because I'm going to guess a lot of us are familiar with this guy right here. We've got our little ViewMaster, and of course, we've got a little card we can put in the top. So, some things don't really change that much. We have evolved again. I think some people maybe are more familiar with a VR, where you can put a video, kind of
Mhm.
that sort of thing, and do some adventuring. So that's really fun. We'll be talking about toys from the settlement period up until more modern times. Our second presentation on the 12th is actually about the Great Depression in Saskatchewan. And this was a very trying time for many people, especially hit hard on the prairies here. And I think we can maybe draw some parallels about the challenges that we're facing with the pandemic right now. The situations are quite different, but I think people are hopeful right now. We're looking forward to maybe getting through this. And I think that's how people in the Great Depression felt too. They were able to overcome those challenges. So we'll be talking about some of the things that they went through, those hardships, how people pulled together. And maybe if I can show another thing here very briefly, I've got a flour sack. And this is something that people actually repurposed during the Great Depression. A lot of those folks from their generation became savers, recyclers. Some flour companies actually made these so that you could wash them and the ink would come off. And then you could repurpose this cloth sack for clothing or pillowcases, tea towels, that sort of thing. So it kind of shows us how we made do and how we got through things. So I'm very excited to share that with folks. That one's at 2 p.m.
And so these heritage presentations are happening February 12th. That's Saturday, 10:30 and 2 o'clock. And this is free with the price of admission.
That's correct. Yes, we're including it with the price of admission. One other thing I forgot to mention with the toys program is we actually have a little goodie bag for our younger visitors. They'll have the materials to make a couple of those old-fashioned toys that we'll be talking about, some coloring sheets and things they can try at home. So that's also included, something else we're going to throw in there too.
This is super exciting. I know my kids would love to do things like that. Right now, actually, you also have a Seek and Find. It's now until March 15th. Can you tell me a little bit about that Seek and Find?
Certainly, yes. So bicycles were kind of the first form of transportation, if you will. In Saskatchewan, it was one of those early ones. And one of the first bicycles was a penny farthing. And I have a little model here. You can kind of see how the front wheel is very large and the pedals are connected to it, and the back wheel is quite small. This is something that actually was named after two English coins, and I'll hold this up here. The penny is the larger one, so you can see that kind of represents the front wheel, and the farthing was the smaller one. So a penny farthing bicycle. We've hidden images of those penny farthings throughout our galleries, so people are welcome of all ages to come out and see if they can spot them. And each penny farthing image is accompanied by a letter, and you'll be recording those as you go along finding them. It will actually help you solve a riddle about a museum, so that should be a lot of fun for everybody as well.
That's really exciting. When you bring the kids there, it's really nice for them to be able to do just that extra thing as they're looking at all of the exhibits. So that's really great. And I see that you've got another one after the farthering, March 16th to May 2nd, Colors of the Saskatchewan Flag Seek and Find.
Yeah, this one's awesome. It's pretty cool because you get to look at the colors of some of our artifacts. So we're looking for things that are green and yellow, primarily the colors of the Saskatchewan flag. And we've thrown in a couple of orange artifacts as well, because as you may know, we have the Western red lily on our flag. So this is something that we'll be going through the museums. We'll have some pictures. A lot of them were taken fairly close up to our artifacts, so you might not be able to tell what they are by looking at them. And you're going to try to match those yellow and green and orange items up to the artifacts as you go through. So it should be fun as well.
Great family fun at the Western Development Museum. You also have a virtual coffee club. Can you tell me just a little bit about that?
Yes, for sure. So our virtual coffee club started last year, and it's been quite successful for us. It was something we used to do in person here at the WDM Moose Jaw, but of course, with the pandemic, we're more mindful of people maybe aren't comfortable coming out to a public event. So we offered it in a virtual format. Each month, we look at a different Saskatchewan topic from our history, and the month of February actually features communication. So this is something long ago, Saskatchewan had a sparser population. Even today, we're not that populated. We're kind of spread out. How did people stay in touch? Did they order from catalogs? Did they send letters? How do we communicate today? So there's a lot of kind of comparisons that way. And just kind of underlines the value of staying in touch and kind of helping to remove that isolation. So that one's coming up on February the 20th. And then we do have a whole slate of other topics all the way through June. And you can just visit our website, which is wdm.ca. Drop down, I think it's on the Learn tab. And then there's a little part you can click on for the virtual coffee club there. And these presentations are also free of charge. So you can zoom in from anywhere in the country and beyond. We've actually had someone sign up from New Zealand, so that was quite exciting.
Wow. Well, it is very exciting and it's so great. I know my kids are always asking about what was it like in the olden days? Like they think that I was there. So it's really great to be able to bring the kids to the Western Development Museum and to be able to see things in real life, and especially on February 12th, where you've got your heritage presentation. So thank you so much for chatting with me. This was really exciting. Again, this is really exciting to go to the museum February 12th, 10:30, the Toys and Pastimes presentation, and at 2 o'clock, the Great Depression Heritage presentation. Thank you, Karla.
Thank you.